Hi, my name is Ruchi NP Singh, and I'm an English A language and literature educator. Now, in my series of papers, I am today going to share with you an opinion column. So what's an opinion? An opinion is a thought or a feeling somebody possesses, and they feel very strongly about it, and they want to transfer that feeling and thought to their audience. So clearly, we are looking out for a strong bias in an opinion column. I'm going to share my screen and take you to an example of an opinion column. This was published in The Guardian in January 2024. So we can say it's a very recent. So clearly we can say it's a topical event. Now, looking at the title, it says society preaches kindness unless you're fat. Why is fat phobia still on the rise? So this title uses situational irony, which emerges from this contrast between the society's supposed preaching of kindness and the subsequent exception based on body size. While the society, on one hand, advocates for kindness, the speaker points out the contradictory and the discriminatory behavior by showing the persistence of fat phobia. So this irony shows the discrepancy between the social ideals and the actual behavior of people. Then we read this. It shouldn't be controversial to expect equal treatment in education, employment, and healthcare, whatever the size of your body. This statement employs an understatement. It downplays the exception for equal treatment in education, employment, and healthcare, despite its fundamental importance, emphasizing on the obviousness of such a demand. Also, we can say there is parallelism because it shows the consistency of this expectation across different aspects of life, reinforcing the notion that equal treatment should be a universally accepted norm. Now, if you look at this image, now what do we understand from the image? We are looking at two fat people who are walking and the others are walking forward. They sort of seem to be as if they've been left behind. And also remember, whenever you cannot see the faces of the characters or the people in pictures, in advertisements, posters, whatever we are discussing, the author encourages you to imagine yourself in that position so as to have more empathy. Okay? Now, let's read. Remember, we are still on the context. It says, our genes play a huge role in determining the body size, with more than 70% of variance in body size across the population being due to genetic factors. Now, when we look at a number, 70%, we know it's logos logic. It adds a factual and authoritative dimension to the statement, enhancing its credibility and reinforcing the idea that genetic influence is a dominating factor. Now, it tells you clearly that this is an opinion column. So if it's written there, brilliant. If it's not there, then you're going to try and understand from various perspectives that, yes, here is an opinion being presented to me. Now, it starts by saying, I've been fat my whole life, and in the early 2000s, I discovered fat activism. Now, this I is the author. The author is using a personal narrative. She's sharing her own experience of being fat and discovering fat activism. So it adds a subjective and a relatable dimension to the discourse. Obviously, creates a connection between the author and the audience. Then she says, it opened my eyes to just how badly fat people are mistreated and subjected to widespread discrimination. Now, this phrase, it opened my eyes, is a hyperbole, exaggerating the impact of discovering fat activism to emphasize the change in the author's perception. Then she says, in education, employment, and healthcare, just for starters. Now, the enumeration of these areas show the scope of this discrimination faced by fat people. So it's a very comprehensive portrayal of the challenges that they encounter. And when she says just for starters, it means that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's more to come. But many people of my liberal and progressive ilk simply haven't caught on. The kindness we preach doesn't seem to extend to people who live in large bodies. Now here, when you look at this language, there is a juxtaposition because you are liberal and progressive, so you should be more open-minded. But she says that kindness does not extend to people in larger bodies. So there's a powerful contrast, which tells you that there's an apparent incongruity in the values preached and practiced within this ideological group. Let's move ahead. She says it's not just my impression, hard data backs up how entrenched fat phobia remains in the society. Now, when she says this, she's negating a potential counter-argument. She says it's not just my impression. Then she adds ethos to it. She says hard data backs up. Logos. Ethos is going to come here through Harvard Department of Psychology. When it comes to race, skin tone, disability, age, and sexuality, again, we have enumeration of features. Seems like a very comprehensive list. Panelism is presented in these characteristics, which gives organization and clarity of information to the reader. Both conscious and unconscious biases against marginalized characteristics appear to be on the wane, according to research undertaken at Harvard Department of Psychology. There is your credibility.